Hello, today is Monday, August 25th, 2025. I'm Tony Mangino from TC2, and this is Staying Connected. I'm joined today by my colleague, Frank Zagrodnik, and we're going to do a bit of a deep dive on the fine print of your wireless bill to discuss the taxes, surcharges, and fees that have a material impact on your enterprise mobility budget and what you can do to get a true picture of your wireless total cost of ownership. Frank, welcome back to Staying Connected.
Thanks, Tony. It's great to be back. The last time we spoke, we talked generally about CFO concerns and challenges due to increasing costs across our network technology budgets. The topic, of course, is expansive and it's evolving with new challenges in spending categories. Certainly, cost control is always in the spotlight. Today, I wanted to highlight some of those cost considerations specific to wireless services. When you think about end users, the typical discussion is about smartphones and tablets. While the monthly cost of wireless plans for these devices themselves has been declining in the US for over a decade, with prices being significantly down since 2010, a significant portion of a typical US wireless bill is made up of various taxes, fees, and government surcharges. We often have clients talk about their specific rate plans, but their comments usually end before the real total cost of ownership is ever discussed.
Frank, let's talk more about that true total cost of ownership.
In 2024, taxes, fees, and government surcharges on wireless services reached a record high, and there really isn't any end in sight. They comprised upwards of 30% of the average taxable portion of a typical monthly bill. The current landscape of wireless fees, in addition to your monthly service costs, fall into one of three categories. One, the Federal Universal Service Fund, or FUSIF. Two, supplier specific costs. And three, state and local taxes and fees. Let's start with the Federal Universal Service Fund. This charge isn't new. It's been around for some time, and it supports the telecommunication services in rural and high-cost areas, schools, and libraries. And it saw a significant increase in 2024 from 10.8% to 12.8%. Secondly, and an area that often gets overlooked, are the supplier created fees and surcharges. Suppliers call them by different names, but in the end, they are self created surcharges to businesses and consumers to cover their cost of goods sold and create higher revenue. Recently, one of the major US wireless carriers cited higher churn rates, and analysts correlated this to their continued increasing of these fees. Some of these fees were introduced during COVID, but they continue to escalate and have nearly doubled since 2022. If you signed a contract in the last couple of years, this has become a budgetary bust and was never planned for.
What about the state taxes and fees?
These vary by state, but the average state and local tax burden on a wireless service was 14% in 2024. Surprisingly, in 17 states, wireless taxes are more than twice as high as sales tax on goods. This is unavoidable, but it needs to be understood in your total cost of ownership and ultimately in your annual budgeting process.
Frank, we talk a lot about the TCO here at Tech Caliber. So, what else is part of this particular total cost of ownership conversation?
Another consideration we work with our clients on is feature costs. And these can be very specific to your business. But when you break it down and look at it, there's really two considerations here. One, how many users need a specific feature? And two, again, what is the cost of this feature? In one of the recent engagements I was leading, our client had a hunt group technology that allowed them to apply rules for passing incoming calls to the first available line or associate in a predefined set of employees. Originally, this started as pilot program and it got great adoption and success and grew rapidly across their business. What the business failed to do was revisit and align with finance and procurement. There was never a thorough cost assessment completed from the time the pilot launched to expanding those capabilities across the enterprise. Ultimately, they were paying list rates and never received market based pricing for the thousands of users that were using this feature. Again, focus on the total cost of ownership. And as your business changes and adapts, look back at your contract and what these unique features are actually costing you.
Frank, I have to imagine that the cost of the actual device and associated subsidies has to be a focus area here as well.
Absolutely. Suppliers can differentiate their offering above and beyond the monthly plan rates, the feature costs, and ultimately the added administrative surcharges by offering promotions and subsidies. This certainly isn't new, but what is important here is understanding the details of these offers. As many of the listeners know, we have a telecommunication expense management and contract compliance practice. It's common that we review equipment as part of our optimization recommendations for enterprises. Many times, the ordering of devices, smartphone, and tablets is a bit of the Wild West. End users will go out in order entry or through a TEM and select the longest term commitment without reviewing specific promotions. A 30-month term may carry the actual promotion and ultimately have better pricing than the 36-month term. Seems counterintuitive, but you need to be reviewing your device orders and invoices to ensure you're getting the optimal pricing from your contract. Also, large enterprises often let promotions expire and they don't stay on top of the latest market offerings. That certainly plays into the supplier's advantage by paying inflated costs.
Frank, is there any of the proverbial low hanging fruit here we should be aware of?
There can be. Focusing on zero usage and terminated employees is an area where many enterprises fall short. Often there's an offboarding process, but frequently it falls short in execution. Periodically, your temp provider and or your finance team should be reviewing your user base and your line counts. This not only may be important part of your contract for pricing and rates, but it often you pay for lines and devices that are not being used. Nothing will be a larger irritant to a CFO than wasteful and unmanaged costs.
Great advice, Frank. Thank you for joining me today. And to our listeners, if you would like to learn more about how to manage your wireless spend strategically, or if you'd like to discuss other technology strategy, sourcing, and cost reduction needs with Frank, me, or any of our TC2 and LB3 colleagues, please give us a call or shoot us an email. You can also stay up to date on all manner of ICT topics by subscribing to Staying Connected, checking out our websites, and by following us on LinkedIn.